Hi everybody, Matt here from Matt Likes Comics. This is going to be my quick review of the movie Supergirl, which I saw on June 25th, 2026. This video will have spoilers in it, not a lot, but enough that if you want to watch the movie before you watch this, stop now, go watch the movie, come back later. It's because I can't do my full review without revealing some of the parts of the movies that drove me crazy and some of the parts that I really liked in order to explain as a big Supergirl fan why I like it. So again, stop no further. Do not pass my hand if you haven't seen the movie and want to. Supergirl 2026 was produced by Peter Safran and James Gunn, directed by Craig Gillespie. The role of Supergirl was played by Millie Alcock. Krem of the Yellow Hills, who is the big bad, by Matthias Schoenaerts. Ruthie, the main protagonist outside of Supergirl, the sidekick to Supergirl in this movie. Ruthie is played by Eve Ridley. Zor-El, played by David Krumholtz, who's reasonably well known. Allura, played by Emily Beecham. Superman by David Corenswet, and Lobo by Jason Momoa. Elias Knoll, who is Ruthie's father, was played by Ferdinand Kingsley, and Drom Baxton, the second in command of the Brigands, it was played by Diarmid Murtaugh. Now, I was livid at the end, but the movie was awesome. In that sense, the lividity of the movie makes me bring the rating down. Let me explain. It was a reasonably good adaptation. I mean, it wasn't a perfect adaptation of Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, because too many things went on in that miniseries for it to be translated to the screen. But if you've read that miniseries, you already know who a lot of the characters are and the main basic plot of of it, so to speak. Now, Supergirl, of course, they made her out in the beginning of the movie to be this real slob, which was a carryover from the Superman movie. If you remember the ending scene where she's like, comes in, she's baked, drunk, and where's my dog, and all that other stuff. Except that she wouldn't still be drunk on the Yellow Star world if they followed the logic from this movie. The color of the star of each planet in the movie was a big plot point in this movie, and it was cool that they gave, by the way, I may ramble on back and forth from parts, okay? This is an opinion piece. This is not a real full end-to-end review, okay? The color of the star and the name of the star system were provided during the movie in the corner every time there was a change in scenery, so that was helpful. The movie, of course, starts on a red star planet. As I said, she's living in a camper version, basically a RV version of a spaceship. And she's there with Krypto, and she lives like a slob, okay? She's out getting drunk all the time, and she's at a bar where she encounters Ruthie. Ruthie, we saw already, had her family killed by Krem of the Yellow Hills, who's the big bad, and Ruthie gets to live for whatever reason. He lets Ruthie live, but the other three members of her family are killed, and so she plots revenge. That's right from the book. Only in the book, only her father was killed, which is why I mentioned his role. He's a sword maker or whatever, best in the galaxy or something. So Krem has come to steal his swords. So the next part of it is she meets Supergirl in the bar. There's a big bar fight. Supergirl says, "No, I'm not going to bother with you with your revenge." Supergirl saves Ruthie's butt, by the way. But then Krypto gets hurt. Krypto gets shot on the Red Sun planet, and it was shot with poison by Krem, who is stealing the RV, Supergirl's RV, to get off planet, because of course Ruthie's dad actually managed to destroy their I guess they're called the Ravagers. I think they're called the Ravagers. He had destroyed their space. So because Supergirl needs the antidote, because Krypto can't be moved for whatever reason, so Krypto couldn't be taken to a yellow sun world. Krypto couldn't move. And, so she had to go, she had 3 days to go and get the antidote, which happens to be worn around the neck of Creme of the Yellow Hills. So Supergirl helps Ruthie out. They go from planet to planet. They miss him. There's this thing where they literally catch an international bus service. The bus gets held up by a pirate group. Okay? And Supergirl, of course, because the pirate group happens to catch them in a yellow sun system, and she's getting her powers back just in time, and blah, blah, blah. She defeats everything else. Funny little situation. There's a little Benum in the scene, of course, voiced by Seth Rogen, that is supposed to be comedy relief for a section, and he's reasonably amusing. But regardless, so anyways, Supergirl finds out where Krem is. They fly to that planet because Supergirl has her powers back. She gets her a spacesuit and they fly off by themselves. She gets Ruthie a spacesuit. They go to this next planet where they find out that the brigands are stealing all of the little girls to be brides for the brigands, because what they do is they, rape the brides. They keep the boys, kill the girls, and kill all the women, because that's how it has to be. And so forth. And they go off and, basically Supergirl ends up, they end up flying to yet another planet where there's a green sun, and in this universe, green sun acts like kryptonite on Kryptonians, which has never been said in the DC universe. That was made up for the movie. And then, it's a green-yellow system, so the yellow star comes back just in time. Huge fight. Lobo, of course, was introduced on the planet where they found out about the girls. Lobo is looking for the second in command on a bounty. They sort of keep running into each other. They end up all together at the big fight at the end. Supergirl wins the big fight in the end. They free the girls, and she convinces Ruthie not to kill Krem. And then this is what pisses me off. Supergirl kills him. And Supergirl does not kill. It's the same thing. I got pissed at the end of Man of Steel when Superman killed Zod. They do not kill. To me, that is a sacred part of the Superman mythos, whatever you want to call it. So that pissed me off to no end. And I'm going to be reducing what I feel about this movie because of this. James Gunn, get your crap together. Gillespie, whatever. Supergirl does not kill. I'm mad. The whole movie soundtrack sounded like it was the entire Lilith Fair soundtrack from the 1990s. Girl power and all that stuff, which is fine. That is a good choice actually for Supergirl, because she is a very powerful woman, and she but in this movie they made her feel like into this selfish little person who had to grow up and realize she had to become a hero. I did not like the over eagerness of them to show Supergirl as a slob. There was absolutely no reason to include Ruthie walking in on her going to the bathroom and having to hear that. That was unnecessary part of the movie. I really did not like that. But I did like how the basic plot followed the storyline Woman of Tomorrow, one of the best Supergirl arcs to have come out in the last 40 years. Maybe ever. It is really that good. But they had enough moments like that of cringe in the movie that took it away. There was enough amusements. The James Gunn jokes were there. And silliness was there. The fact that Kara was listening to a Walkman was weird. And how Kara finally got around to wearing the superhero suit. The origin was great. Okay? I have to say this. The origin was exactly like it was out of Action 252. right from day one. They took the original origin and went with that in the movie. She was the right age. No suspended animation was shown. No nothing. She was like the proper thing. Superman had grown up normal, and she came around later. That was fine. She met Krypto on they added that part, that Krypto was her dog because she met Krypto and Krypto came with her to Earth. All right. That part was different. Other than that, it was the 252, Action 252 origin. Great stuff. But they ruined with that. I was not happy. This whole killing thing, it really, really takes the beans out of me. Overall, the fight scenes were great. Lobo was great. All of the actors did their job well, but the script was weak in terms of the conversation. The fight scenes felt like they were repetitive. It was always like, for example, when they were trying to round up all the girls on the planet, guy grabs girl, Supergirl punches him. Guy grabs girl, Supergirl punches him. Guy grabs girl, and so on. Same with the second one. Supergirl gets caught, Lobo saves her ass, and then guy tries to get girl, boom, bam, Supergirl punches him, and so forth and so forth. So although they were really cool and the effects are well done, the fights were a little over and over. I was originally going to give this movie a 7 out of 10 because I was going to give it a 9. I was going to give it a 9 with Prejudice because I am a Supergirl fan until the end when she killed Krem herself. In the series, we know that Krem was killed by Ruthie after 40 years or so had gone by and he had repented. That wasn't done here. Supergirl just killed him as Ruthie had walked away. And Supergirl doesn't kill. And right there, that did it for me. So that's my review. Your mileage may vary. And I recommend you see the movie. As I said, I was going to give it a 9 out of 10, most likely. 8 out of 10 at the bottom, if it was really, really bad. But that ending, that ending. At least the end of the movie had it at the very end of, you had her coming back to Earth. The other thing that I didn't like, the other thing I did like about the movie, even when she was being skanky Supergirl and getting drunk all the time, and, she's a slob and all that, she never woke up with anybody. They didn't do anything like that. They didn't throw in, partners or anything like that. And that actually was a good thing for this character and a good thing for this movie because that just would have been over the top unnecessary. And I'm glad they didn't do that. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe below. Please tell me if you've seen the movie, what you thought of it. Tell me what you, what you would have changed, what you liked, what you didn't like. Tell me if you plan on seeing them, if you decided to go ahead and watch with the spoiler warning, if you decided to watch this movie or not, let me know. Thank you very much for joining me. If you've got nothing better to do, please check out my friend and sponsor, Ryan Jordan at Nefarious Comics. The information is in the description. Thank you very much for joining me today. My name is Matt. I like comics, and I hope you do too. Bye, everybody.